Hope you had a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Football season is just about here, and it's time for us to go on the record. It's time for Locked On Big Ten and our official win totals for all 18 teams for the upcoming season right here. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. Plus, we're getting this close to 20,000 subscribers with your help. Share, like, and follow. Again, so you don't miss a single episode. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So, win totals. Ours, not somebody else's that we're talking about. Ours. We are going on the record, all 18 teams, plus our top 10 observations from the 4th of July weekend. We'll do all that. All right, now, just a quick scene setter here. We're going to go through each team, and I will tell you what the win total was from FanDuel, for example. If we're gonna err on the side of optimism here. And we always allow ourselves to do this on my radio show, doing my podcast, the whole thing. I allow myself a margin of error, plus or minus one. I'm going to keep these. We're going to wait for the end of the year. We're going to see how close we get. Okay? We're going to start with Penn State. Of course, they were the Big Ten runner-ups of the Big Ten championship game last year. FanDuel has them at 10.5 wins. And we're looking forward to the season. They lost to Notre Dame in the semifinals. A lot of talent returns. Drew Allar, most experienced quarterback in the Big Ten, most experienced quarterback in the country. James Franklin, a lot of, hey, if not now, then when? We've talked about that here on this podcast as well. They've got a strong offensive line. Obviously, they have a great running game with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen coming back, a fourth year. Wide receiver. That is always the question for this team. Kyron Hudson coming over from USC should be a big help. Tight end Khalil Dinkins is going to have to replace a lot of offense with Ty Warren, who's on to the NFL. Offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki now in year 2. How comfortable is everybody? Don't forget, Jim Knowles, defensive coordinator from Ohio State, coming to Penn State. He's regarded as the best in the business. We'll see how that looks. This defense is loaded. A lot of junior and senior players, a lot of future NFL talent. Danny Dennis Sutton up front and beyond. So let's get into it. Let's chop it up a little bit here and let's look at their schedule. I do like starting out. Nevada, FIU, Villanova, 3-0. All right. Now, the big one right there. Oregon, September 27th, rematch of the Big Ten championship game. Night game, whiteout. You know the deal. I'm going to give Penn State the win here. I'm going to give Oregon fans, we'll get to you in a minute. Still going to have a good season. But I think this Oregon-Penn State game will be very similar to the Ohio State-Oregon game at Oregon last year. High scoring, coming down to the wire, and I like Penn State. So 4-0, right? And then at UCLA, that's a win. Those two teams are two different planets right now. Northwestern, same thing. At Iowa, look, that could be a tricky game if it's at night, but I like Penn State in that one. Then a bye week before the Ohio State game. It's at Ohio State. We're going to give Ohio State that win. All right. Indiana. Indiana's going to come to Penn State. Indiana always plays tough at Penn State, but probably won't win. They get Penn State will win. It'll be closer than you think. At Michigan State, then Nebraska and Rutgers, all wins across the board. So I got them 11-1. I got them with 11 wins. Like, what do you think about that, Penn State fan? 11 wins. All right. So again, the smart people over there in Vegas got them at 10.5. We got them with the over with 11 wins. All right, let's move through this. Ohio State, they're projected at 10.5 wins. So the defending national champions. We got Ryan Day, Julian Sayin, 5-star quarterback, new, ready to go, going to replace Will Howard. Jeremiah Smith, best wide receiver on the planet. Also, Carnell Tate's going to have a big year. Got James Peoples in there at running back and have to replace Travion Henderson and also Quinshon Judkins. Matt Patricia running the defense now. 8 starters gone from that team last year. So upfront losses with Jack Sawyer and JT Tuamalo. And, of course, now you got linebacker Sonny Styles. Corner Davison Igmanosin is back. Caleb Downs is fantastic. There's a lot of talent, even though a lot of people are gone for this defense. Schedule. All right, we can break this down in many number of ways. We all know we got the season opener against Texas. Arch Manning, Steve Sarkisian's team's been in the playoffs a couple years in a row. Here's what I think is going to happen with this schedule. You can take 3 games. Texas, hosting Penn State, which I already gave them the win, and at Michigan. I think they win 2 of those 3 games. I already gave you the win against Penn State. So either you're losing the Texas game or the Michigan game at Michigan. One of those is going to be a loss. So overall, though, that gets us to 11 wins. 11 wins for Ohio State. The over on 10.5. Okay. Oregon, they have them at 10.5. I got them at 10. We got Dan Lanning, still undefeated in the Big Ten. 3rd year with a new quarterback coming in right away, right? Bo Nix came in for a year. It was awesome. Dylan Gabriel came in for a year. It looked awesome. Dante Moore coming in from UCLA with a year of experience, then sat out a year, and now he's ready to go. Evan Stewart is out. That's tough. Gonna reload at wide receiver, though. They got a lot of young talent in the wide receiver room. Nobody like Evan Stewart. I'm looking forward to left tackle Isaiah World. He's the size of a world. Coming from Nevada, 6'8", 310 pounds. Going to really boost that offensive line. On defense, you got Mateo Ukulele on the edge. I keep telling you, if you've gone back and seen any of our podcasts, safety Dylan Thieneman, I think, is the transfer portal get of the year. You're going to love him at Oregon. So let's take a look at this schedule, see how we come up with 10 wins. Montana State, Oklahoma State, at Northwestern, should win that one. Oregon State, still going to be mad from them leaving them behind in the Pac-12. Should be able to win that. I've got them with the loss at Penn State in the Big Ten rematch. Then a bye week. Indiana then comes out to Autzen Stadium with Oregon coming off a bye week. So Oregon will win that game. They'll win Rutgers, Wisconsin. At Iowa, I think will be a tough game. I think that'll be a tough game, but they will win that game. And then Minnesota's a win. And I've got a win against USC. I'm pulling the season finale against Washington. I've seen tricky things happen to Oregon against Washington. I think Washington's better this year than they were last year. I'm going to get into that later. So that's where I got 2 losses coming up this year for Oregon, sitting at 10-2. So I got 3 teams in the Big Ten with 10 wins already. All right, let's take a look at next. We got Indiana. Indiana's projected at 8.5 wins. Kurt Signetti, encore or not? 11 wins last year. Fernando Mendoza is the new quarterback, replacing Curtis Rourke. They also got Notre Dame center. That was a nice get. Pat Coogan, that transferred in from Notre Dame. Elijah Stewart is the best receiver in the Big Ten, not named Jeremiah Smith. Got Omar Cooper. On the defensive side, Aiden Fisher is fantastic. He's a tackling machine. D'Angelo Pons with a nose for the football. They're going to go to kicker, too. So their schedule. Everybody criticizes Indiana's schedule. Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State, 3-0. The whole key to their entire season, whether it's super successful or just kind of successful, and they're going to be successful. September 20th, they got Illinois at their place. Both of these teams, I think, are going to be battling for that number 4 playoff spot for the Big Ten. Everything hinges on that game. Because it's at home, I'm going to give Indiana the edge there against Illinois. Then a tough game at Iowa. Hoping that's not at night if you're an Indiana fan. The bye week, and then they got a bye week going into the Oregon game too. Both Oregon and Indiana with a bye going into that game. Again, I think Oregon's going to win that one. Michigan State, UCLA, Indiana crushed the Bruins at the Rose Bowl last year. Now this one's in Bloomington. Should win at Maryland. Tough game at Penn State. Again, they'll play tough, but I think they'll lose. That's 2 losses right there. Wisconsin should be able to win that. And then at Purdue. So if I got Indiana coming in at 9, I think they winner. I gave them the Illinois. I think they may split that Illinois Iowa combo back-to-back weeks. That's where maybe I think they come up with a third loss. So I'm looking at 9-3, but I told you at the top, give me ±1. Maybe they win 10 games. That'd be rare then, because now we got 4 teams in the Big Ten with 10 wins. So put Indiana down for 9. That's still a successful year. Not quite the 11 from the year before. All right. Coming up, we are going to take a look at Michigan and USC and Illinois and everybody else. We're just getting started, scratching the surface here. Win totals on the record here. We'll continue that. And also, I want to remind you to check out our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts are, and also merchandise there for the Big Ten if you want to get ready for the season. So check that out. Also, hit that subscribe button, and that way you never miss a single episode and push us toward 20,000 subscribers. All right? We're going to look at the rest. We just got 4. We got a lot to do. We're going to fire through all these as we continue with our win totals here on Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel makes the excitement of watching games even more exciting. Summer sports are in full swing. Whether you're all about baseball, going under the lights, golf, go to a PGA tour, soccer action, go check all these things out. They all have point spreads. They all have prop bets. They're all right there. That makes it more exciting than just sitting on your couch watching a game. It's like being there. You're all nervous. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. So jump in on the action with FanDuel. Get in on the game and turn a little bit profit, right? It's all fun. While your friends are at the beach, you can be making some money. FanDuel, track your favorite matchups. Easy app. Everything to follow. Very easy to do. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. Again, that's FanDuel.com/locked-on. All right, I want to thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially everydayers out there. Meanwhile, be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below and also check out our website, talkbig10.com. Let's jump back in. We left off with Michigan. All right, this is Vegas has them at 8.5. FanDuel has them at 8.5. Sherrone Moore going to have the 2-game suspension. Bryce Underwood, is he a quick understudy? Does he take off quickly? Does he have some bumps in the road? He says they're going to open it up this year. Donovan McCulley, their transfer from IU, was hurt most of last year and then left. I think he could be big. Justice Hayes comes in from Alabama at running back. Jordan Marshall played against Alabama in the ReliaQuest Bowl and looked great. Defensive front is stout up front, as always, for Wink Martindale. And Jay Sean Barnum transferring in at linebacker, an experienced linebacker from Maryland, should be helpful. Big question mark about Rod Moore at safety coming off that injury. Is he going to be good to go? And Michigan, they're Dominic Zavada, one of the best kickers in the conference. That's why they were able to win so many games last year, even without any good quarterback play. So let's look at this. They start off with New Mexico. Let's give them a dub there. I don't feel great about the Oklahoma game for Michigan. I think Oklahoma could win that game. That's Sherrone Moore's alma mater. They come back and they win against Central Michigan. I think Nebraska is going to be a tough game. I think they can win it. Wisconsin should be a win. How about that combo at USC and then Washington? You know, USC is going to want revenge for what happened last year. They played them pretty close until that last couple minutes of the game. I think maybe USC wins that game. Michigan State, I think Michigan wins. Purdue is a win. Northwestern's a win. Maryland's a win. And then they close it out at Ohio State. So if they lose Oklahoma, USC and or Washington, I think maybe there's 3 losses there. I got Michigan actually creeping up to 10. I got them winning the Ohio State game, guys. It's at Michigan. Ohio State fans are gonna be furious. And I told you the combo with when we did Ohio State's schedule, they're gonna lose one of the 2, Texas or Michigan, and that's how I got to my number. There you have it. It's bold. All right, bold predictions. Michigan 10, Michigan wins over Ohio State. That makes them a playoff team, by the way. So I guess Bryce Underwood's going to have a good year. I know I'm going to hear from you guys in the comment section. All right, let's take a look at Illinois. Vegas has them at 7.5. Brett Bielema, 10-win team last year. Luke Altmaier coming back. He almost didn't come back. He almost went to Tennessee to take Nico Iamaleva's position when he left for UCLA. He's going to miss his favorite receiver in Pat Bryant. Offense, though, all juniors and seniors with the exception of their slot wide receiver, Colin Dixon. The entire starting three-man defensive front comes from the transfer portal. That's all new, including James Thompson Jr. and Kurt Neal. Both of them came from Wisconsin. Kind of interesting fun fact there. So we look at their schedule, wins against Western Illinois, Duke, Western Michigan, and then they start the Big Ten play on the road at Indiana. That's the key game. That's the pivotal game for both schools. Whoever wins that is going to have a nice leg up. Tough game against USC after that, but it's at home. At Purdue, that's a win. Ohio State, I think it's going to be tough. It's at home. A couple tough games at home, though. Then the bye week. And then Washington, Rutgers, and Maryland, all wins. At Wisconsin, a win. Northwestern, win. Illinois can finish strong with like 5 straight wins after that Ohio State game. They got another. I'm gonna put them at 9 wins this year because I got them losing to Indiana, but they could go the other way and they can get 10. They really could. All right, Iowa. Vegas has them at 7.5. I got them at 7. Kirk Ferentz 1 win away from Woody over there at Ohio State. Woody Hayes and his win mark for the Big Ten. The whole Cade McNamara thing at quarterback did not work out. Mark Gronowski from South Dakota State is coming in. I don't know how he's going to play at this level. They seem to think he's going to fix everything. Kamara Moulton replacing Caleb Johnson at running back. Question marks there. Question marks at wide receiver. Tight end Addison Estrenga. He's 6'4", 250. He only had 15 catches and 1 touchdown last year, but you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, this is tight end U. Should be pretty good. Defense, pretty strong up front. 3 seniors up front and a grad student and 3 linebackers, all seniors, and Jaden Harrell back there. So experience on the defense. Oh, and their punter, Ray Dakin from Melbourne, Australia. 61-yarder last year against Washington. They always have great punter. They go tight end and punter. Nobody's better than Iowa. So their schedule, they got Albany and UMass, 2 of the first 3. I don't know how that Iowa State game is going to go. It's at Iowa State. That's always a toughie either way. At Rutgers should be a win. I got a flip game with Indiana. Wisconsin should be a win, I think, but a tough battle. Penn State, they probably won't win that game. Minnesota is a win. Oregon's a loss. USC, at USC, that could be tough. And then at Nebraska. That's some tough sledding right there. That's a tough schedule. You got Oregon and Penn State and Indiana all on your schedule. I got Iowa coming in at 7 wins this year. All right. How about the Huskers? Slight gradual improvement each year with Matt Rule, year 3. Dylan Raiola, year 2. Very excited about that. Dane Key, the wide receiver from Kentucky, coming in. Opening up Cincinnati. That's a tough one. That's a tough, respectable start to a non-conference. Akron and Houston Christian University, not as respectful. I would like to not see that game on their schedule, Houston Christian University. Then there's the Michigan game. Remember, no Sherrone Moore for that one. I think Michigan, as I said earlier, wins that game. But then they got the bye week. Then they can get on a little bit of a roll. The last 2 years, how Nebraska's kind of faded, lost a lot of games late. Michigan State, at Maryland, at Minnesota, Northwestern. They can win all of those games. There's 4 games. USC will be tough. They should be able to beat UCLA. They got Penn State and Iowa to close it out. So they better get their wins in the middle of that season. And I've got them coming in at 8 wins. Losses to Penn State, Michigan, USC. That's tough. Maybe Iowa at the end. All right. So 8 wins this year for Nebraska this season. All right. Let's keep motoring through in all of these here. USC. Vegas has them at 7.5 wins. Lincoln Riley, pivotal year. Jaden Maeva. I'm not sold on him yet. Coming in for Miller Moss last year. Jacoby Lane and Mekhi Lemon are the best parts of their offense. Woody Marks is gone. Defense is getting better. We'll see how they do. Their schedule, Missouri State, Georgia Southern, Purdue should start, and Michigan State should start out with 4 straight wins. At Illinois. The only thing is, now I had Illinois win in this game, but keep in mind, Illinois is coming up the Indiana game, emotional game the week before. Maybe USC can catch them there. Then a bye week, and then Michigan. That's at home, though. And will they be looking ahead to next week against Notre Dame? That's pretty tough. Then another bye week at Nebraska will be tough. They can get wins against Northwestern and Iowa. At Oregon is going to be a tough game for them. And then they close it out against UCLA. But overall, I got USC sitting at 8 wins this year. 8 wins. All right. What else we got here? Let's take a look at Washington. This is a team that's on the rise here. Jed Fish did an incredible job with a rebuild last year. I'm a big fan of Damon Williams Jr. Every time I saw him last year, I didn't know why he was not starting. Denzel Boston, solid wide receiver. Jonah Coleman, super solid running back. So let's take a look. The defense was rebuilt, though. 6 of the 11 starters out of the transfer portal. And remember, Grady Gross, their kicker, had a big drop-off last year. Struggled with some field goals early on. Colorado State, UC Davis, at Washington State, which maybe still having a grudge against them, should be 3 wins there. But then they play Ohio State. It's at home. Going to be a toughie, though. At Maryland, at Rutgers, should get a couple more wins, put them up to 5. At Michigan, that's going to be tough. I think they could go either way. Then they got Illinois, but it's at home. Maybe a 6 win there. At Wisconsin, 7 wins. Purdue, definitely 8. UCLA, 9. Probably lose. I told you. Here's a couple of things. Let me backtrack a little bit on there. With the Michigan and Illinois game, that could be a tough stretch back to back. And I think, although I did give them the win against Oregon, didn't I? A few minutes ago. So I got them sitting at 8. Remember, I'm allowing myself plus or minus 1, maybe 9, maybe a 9-win season for Washington. Keep an eye on them. Minnesota. All right, we're going to hit some teams that are struggling a little bit here. Minnesota, 7-5 last year under PJ Fleck. Drake Lindsey is a freshman quarterback. He's thrown like 5 passes in his life. He's a redshirt freshman. I do like Darius Taylor. He's one of my favorite running backs of the Big Ten. They got wide receiver Tracy Javon, transfer from Miami of Ohio, had 57 catches, 800 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So there's something there. They got a good offensive line. They're going to run the ball and play some defense. And their defense has one of my favorite players of the Big Ten in Coy Perch. Great nose for the ball. And he also does kickoff returns and punt returns. So with their schedule, they got Buffalo, Northwestern State, and Cal to start it out. And then Rutgers. I'm not so sure they're going to beat Rutgers this year. Then at Ohio State, they got Purdue. They can get that one. Maybe 3 or 4 wins at this point, depending on how the Cal game goes. Nebraska will be tough. At Iowa will be tough. Michigan State, they can get a win. Probably lose to Oregon. Probably win against Northwestern. That's going to be a battle. The 2 teams struggling for a win. And then Wisconsin, probably. I don't think they're going to win that game. I don't. Not this year. I got Minnesota at 6 wins. That's the under. 6.5. All right. Got a couple more here. Rutgers. Vegas has them at 5.5. I always start with Rutgers with 6 wins. I just respect that of Greg Schiano. He's going to find a way to grind it out and get right there at 500. And if we can find an extra win or 2 for him here or there, all the better for them. Ethan Kaliakmanis comes back. This will be his 3rd year starting. 1 year at Minnesota, 1 year at Rutgers, coming back this year. Ian Strong made our top receivers list earlier this week. They got to replace Kyle Monunga at running back. They got CJ Campbell this year from Florida International, 11 touchdowns last year. Entire defensive front, brand new, all from the transfer portal. And as are several members of the secondary. In fact, 7 of the 11 starters on defense from the transfer portal. So let's look at the schedule. Let's see if we can find those 6 wins that we always talk about at Rutgers. First of all, Ohio, then Miami of Ohio, and Norfolk State, 3-0. All right. Iowa, it's at home. Oh, that's going to be a punch in the mouth game. Let's make that a 50-50 game right now. At Minnesota, I think they win that. That's 4. At Washington, I don't feel good. Although, didn't they beat Washington last year? Because Washington missed all those kicks. I think at Washington and Washington being better, I think Washington wins that one. And then Rutgers takes on Oregon. Even though it's at home, that's going to be a tough one. At Purdue, we got a 5th win. At Illinois, could be tough. I think that's an Illinois game. Maryland, there's your 6th win. Then you close it out with Ohio State and Penn State. All right. So if they could find a way to beat either Iowa or Minnesota, maybe we can give them a 7th win. Maybe but at least 6. That's a tough schedule in the back half of the schedule for them. All right, Michigan State, Jonathan Smith, year 2. Aiden Childs, year 2. I like his potential. Wide receiver Nick Marsh. The entire left side of the offensive line and their center built through the transfer portal, as is the right side of the defensive line. I think we're going to see a lot of improvement out of Michigan State, but I think they're 1 year away from putting it away, or really putting some more wins on there. One year away from showing us something here. So let's take a look at their schedule. They open up against Western Michigan. They got BC. It's at home. Remember, I think they had that BC game 1 last year, and I think Aiden Childs had a turnover, and it was in the rain. I remember that. Big patriotic day out there. I think they can get them this year. It's 2 wins. And Youngstown State, 3. Tough games at USC, at Nebraska back-to-back. That's a tough stretch. UCLA, they can get that one. That's at home. That's a 4th win. At Indiana, it's going to be tough. Michigan, tough. At Minnesota, it's going to be a dogfight. They can get that, though. That's their 5th win. Penn State, ouch. At Iowa, that's tough. Maryland, that's I think they can win that game, but that puts them at 6. I got them at 6. Whew. Indiana, Michigan, Penn State. That's a tough schedule. That is a tough schedule. All right, UCLA. Got a couple more here. UCLA at 5.5 wins. I got them at 4. Deshaun Watson, year 2. Nico Iamaleava. I don't know what kind of talent he's got around him. They do have a running back, Javion Thomas, transfer from Cal, who's good for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. Left tackle, Cortland Ford, transfer from Kentucky and USC, 6'6", 315, and 4 starters on defense from the transfer portal. Got to replace linebacker Carson Swessinger, who was the 33rd pick in the NFL draft. They open up at Utah. I think that's a tough one for them. Or against Utah at home. I still think that's a tough one. At UNLV and Mexico. So I think they go 2-1 to start off. At Northwestern, 3-1. Penn State, that's going to be a loss. At Michigan State, I'm giving that one to Michigan State. Maryland, they can win. That's going to be, they should win Maryland. All right. So what are we at? We're at 4. We're at 5 there. Indiana, they're going to lose again. Nebraska, probably a loss. Ohio State, Washington, USC is how they close out that. That is a tough second half of the schedule. All right, so I got UCLA at 4 to 5 wins. Vegas has them at 5.5. Wow, that is some brutal stuff there. Whew. IU, Nebraska, Ohio State, Washington, USC. That is a tough close. All right, Maryland, Mike Loxley struggled last year to 4 wins, 1 in the Big Ten. Malik Washington is a true freshman at quarterback. This is going to be tough. They're going to be tough for them. I'm looking at their schedule. I got them for 2 wins. The Florida Atlantic and Northern Illinois, that's the team that beat Notre Dame last year. And then Towson. So I got Florida Atlantic and Towson as the 2 wins. Wisconsin, Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, Indiana, Rutgers, Illinois, Michigan, and MSU on the Big Ten schedule, and I don't think they win those. I don't. I think they got problems. I think they're going backwards. So 2 wins overall for Maryland. Take the under there. Northwestern, David Braun in year 3. First year, won 8 games, surprised everybody, won a bowl game, and was coach of the year. 7 transfers on the offensive side of the ball, including quarterback Preston Stone from SMU. They're going to rely on Cam Porter, the running back, on defense. The front 4, all transfers. They got 3 redshirt seniors up front, though, including Aiden Hubbard, who had 6 sacks. That's something. And they got 1 more year playing in their makeshift on-campus stadium before they go to their new stadium. I got Northwestern right at 3 wins. Vegas has them at 3.5. As we're looking at their schedule, they're at Tulane. That's going to be tough. Western Illinois. Then they take on Oregon to start the Big Ten. That's brutal. UCLA. They can win the Louisiana Monroe game. And I just got them at 3 wins. 3 wins this year. And then finally Purdue. Barry Odom taking over for Ryan Walters. They went 1-11 last year, 0-9 of the Big Ten. 8 transfers on offense, 9 on D. Brand new team. One of the holdovers, though, one of the better players of the Big Ten, running back Devin Mockabee. He is good. Ryan Brown comes back at quarterback. He played sparingly in 8 games behind Hudson Card, but played against Illinois and tore it up last year. 18 to 26 for 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks. If he can do that with any kind of regularity, maybe they got something here. They open against Ball State. Ball State can be tough against teams in the state of Indiana who are struggling. I know it. Southern Illinois, they can win. And their schedule is brutal after that. USC at Notre Dame, got a bye week. Illinois at Minnesota, at Northwestern. They can maybe win that. Rutgers. And then check out this close. Michigan, Ohio State, Washington, and Indiana. We got the Boilermakers for 2 wins. There, we're on the record. What do you think? All right. Hit me up in the comment section, good or bad. Were we way off on any of these? Let me know. When we come back, we got our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. It's all next right here on Locked On Big Ten. Monarch Money. You ever kind of lose track of your money? Where am I spending all my money? Well, you can manage your money a lot better all in one place with Monarch Money. Put you in the driver's seat, like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances, all in one place. Bring all your financial apps and credit cards all in one place. You can bring your spouse's financial information together, and very easy to keep track of everything. So in that way you can look and see, oh man, where am I spending my money? Oh, I'm eating out too much, or I got too many subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. Check it out with Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKDOWNCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKDOWNCollege for half off your first year. All right, on Locked On Big Ten, we always like to do features here at the end of our podcast that are always a lot of fun. And we're going to take a look at our top 10 Big Ten observations from the weekend. Of course, this weekend, we had the 4th of July, right? So I did something a little different here. We're going to go on screen and take a look at this. They're the top 10 things about 4th of July that I like. All right. We're going to put sparklers on there. Now, listen, sparklers are no big deal, but you always got to have some sparklers around for your kids, keep them busy while you're getting ready for the main event on the day. Let's see. Desserts. There's always some good desserts, some sweets, some watermelon, all that kind of stuff floating around. It's always good. At number 8, you got to have baseball on the 4th of July, right? I'm always sitting around going, man, I'm in the mood for a baseball game today on the 4th of July. And the reason I'm able to do that is because the next one, I got a day off. We'll all have a day off. Of course, we have this podcast that we did on Friday. Go back and check it out if you missed it on Locked On Big Ten. And then, there's always some good swimming. Go to the beach, the swimming pool, whatever. These are some of the other things in my top 10 things that I enjoy about 4th of July weekend. Dogs and burgers, lots of good, easy, accessible food right there at the grill. Easy to do. The beer, gotta be beer and beverages on the 4th of July. That's always a lot of fun. And then Joey Chestnut, the American treasure, with the annual hot dog eating contest. Always one of the best parts of 4th of July. Some of you can't watch it. It'll make you sick to your stomach. You eat 75 hot dogs or whatever. Unbelievable. Also, in our top 10 things about the 4th of July weekend, American flags. And I don't know if your neighborhood's like mine. Some people have a flag out all year long, but when people bring them all out up and down the street with the red, white, and blue, that's always phenomenal. Always enjoy looking at that. And then, of course, closing it out with a fireworks show. Now, you got to have a good one. If it's to music, it's even better. And it should be at least a half hour long, and you should have a good 10-minute finale just blasting up the sky, right? So those are our top 10 things about 4th of July weekend that we put here on our podcast. What did you think? Did I leave something else off there? Let me know. We'd love to hear from you here on Locked On Big Ten. Hit us up with a comment section on YouTube. And many ways to interact with us on Twitter at TalkBig10. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com, where all of our podcasts go. Plus, you can buy Big Ten merchandise right there. And be sure before you go to hit that subscribe button for free so you never miss a single episode. While you're there, go back and check out a previous episode you may have missed for a second listen or a second view. And do the same with our friend Brian Smith from the Portal Show. Check that out. Doing very well. Everybody wants to know what's going on with the transfer portal. He knows what's going on with the transfer portal. Well, that'll do it. I can't wait till we meet again next time. Tell your friends about us that we're out here every day talking Big Ten news, 18 teams. Hit me up. Let me know what you think about my win totals. But with the news, analysis, and opinion, all right here under one umbrella of this podcast. For Locked On Big Ten, thanks for joining us. Can't wait till we meet again. I'm Craig Sheeman.